Okay, everybody, welcome back to the bench. Today, we are going to be doing some work on my Walther PDP here. So, as always, we have no mag in. Lock the slide back. We are completely empty and safe. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to install this Vortex Defender ST on my Walther PDP. I just received the plate in yesterday from Walther Arms, USA. Very reasonably priced place. So this plate is the number 4 plate. It's pretty much cut for the PDP version 2, which has the spine in the middle of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our Vortex Defender box here, figure out what screws work for the PDP, and we're going to go ahead and install. Now, this thing is very reasonably priced. I got it on the Walther website for, I want to say like $30, plus shipping. Well, I think it was closer to $40. Not a big deal. Some of these plates out there that are made for, are $75, $80, maybe even 90 something dollars for certain plates. This one happens to be the number 4. Like I said before, it is cut for the Delta Point Pro footprint, which the Defender ST is the Delta Point Pro footprint from Vortex. So this is my Defender ST in FDE, and I have the screws already in it from the M18 that I took it off of the other day. So dry fit. There we go. That is a perfect dry fit. Shouldn't be any issues whatsoever with this plate. So we're going to go ahead and put her on and make sure that everything is good and lined up. So let's get to it. What I'm going to do, though, is for purposes of the social media network that I work underneath, or that I post to, I should say, I do post to Rumble. I do sometimes post to YouTube and Instagram and a couple of those other places. But I know some of those places have restrictions on tearing apart and putting together a firearm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. I'm going to take the slide off, take everything out, and then we're going to come back and we'll work on this piece right here. Okay? Okay. Welcome back. So what I've went ahead and done here is I've broken down the PDP. So it's just a slide. And I have taken the screws out. So these are the screws right here that attach the PDP, or I'm sorry, attach the Vortex Defender ST to my M18 when I had it on my M18. So we're going to see if those screws actually fit. We're going to do a dry fit, which I'm going to do right now. So this is the adapter plate for the Walther PDP and Delta Point Pro. And let's do a little bit of a dry fit here, just to make sure that these are the right thread pitch, which it looks and appears that they are. So cool factor with Vortex, which they have a lot of cool factors, but cool factor with Vortex is in the box. You get this little box in here that's got a bunch of goodies in it. And the goodies are the different thread pitches. So they're different screws. So this one is the M4 by 0.7. It's the Glock MOS, Ruger, and Springfield Hellcat if I wanted to mount it on a Hellcat. This is 632 for Smith & Wesson, 640 for FN509. And then we have the HK VP9 and the Kimber Aegis at 648. These are really, really cool because they come with Vortex. Vortex sends different screws out and different screw types out with every single optic that they sell. So I really like that about Vortex. That's why I keep on going back to Vortex, because they do that, and it's just it makes it really, really simple for people to mount their optics on different guns if they want to mount it on a different gun. So I had this on an M18, and of course, as you saw, they don't have a specific thread pitch for Walther. So I went ahead and did a dry fit. This is a perfect fit. These are the screws that were in the M18 from 6 Hour. They do fit the plate for Walther for the PDP. So I'm going to go ahead and use these today to mount this optic on there. With the plate, as you'll see, and let me get this top off here. So I've taken this off before, and this is just finger tight. So this is going to be super, super easy to remove. But when I initially removed this just to see what I had underneath and what type of plate I needed to order, I put deliberate pressure on these bolts so as to not strip them out. Just even deliberate pressure on these bolts to not strip them out, because I wasn't sure if I was going to reuse these or not, which I will reuse these for the plate because they fit directly in. So as you can see with the PDP version 2, they have these cuts. These are cuts made for stress on the optic, to alleviate some of the stress on the optic, and you'll see these cuts. So the bottom of the plate matches the cuts. So I have 2 lugs right here that go in these 2 holes, and this will fit perfectly just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my original plate screws right here and screw this back into the frame. These are already pre-Loctited. I might actually put a little bit more Loctite on these just to cinch them down. And what I'll do is I'll use my there we go, blue Loctite. Oh, that's red. Let's not do that. Blue Loctite. I'm gonna go ahead and use my torque wrench and torque these down as well. That way I get a proper torque setting on these, and I'm not going to completely strip these, break these to where they won't properly work. Because right now I don't have any extras to put in there. Oh, that's a little slippery. I don't have any extras to put in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put just a dab. There we go. Put you back right there. Get a dab on there. I'm going to set this right there, and we're going to get it started just to make sure everything goes properly. There we go. So it's not tight. It's just in there snug. I'm going to go ahead and put another drip of Loctite on here. There we go. Oops. And that's why we do that. And all the Loctite's now on my glove. So let's reapply. Any type of thread locker that you put on there, a little bit goes a long way. What Loctite is, or what thread locker is meant to do, is exactly what it says it's meant to do. It's meant to dry, expand, and lock the threads of your screw in there. Okay, so first order of business is getting the plate on, which we have right here. Okay, so that's snug. That is snug. So I'm going to go ahead and get my torque wrench, put my bit in there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it at about 20 inch-pounds. We're going to do 20 inch-pounds for the plate, just to make sure the plate's on there good. So even deliberate pressure, I'm going to press down. There we go. There's one. There's 2. All right. Make sure that one, I believe that one. Yep. There we go. All right. So those are both in there. Those are both tight. Plate's on good. Plate fits. Everything is good on the plate. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our screws for the, there we go, same thread pitch. Let me wipe this off here. There we go. So we already have blue thread locker on these screws. These screws are already came with blue thread locker already on them, as you can see right here. So they are good to go. So we're going to fit this on. Perfect fit. Make sure our holes are lined up, which I don't know if you could see that or not, but our holes are pretty much aligned. So this doesn't require any extra effort other than just screwing them in, taking my torque wrench, and torquing them down to the proper torque specs. So there's one. We'll call it finger tight, nice and finger tight. Second. There we go, nice and finger tight. Everything works out just fine. Go back to the thread locker. So I'm going to back this off just a little bit. So the plate I wanted a little bit harder than the optic itself. So I'm going to back this down to about 18. Yeah, between 18 and 15 and 18 inch pounds. So you want this snug, but you don't want this, completely just totally hard to the world. So let's get a little bit better of an angle here. Okay, so we're just going to torque it down. There we go, there's one. There's two. And we're done. So it's that simple. With mounting your optic on the PDP. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bore sight it. I'll put it back together, bore sight it. I will put my plate. So I have a habit of putting everything together, keeping everything together. So since I use the same screws as I had on the M18 for my PDP plate, and I use these screws from the actual PDP plate itself, the top plate, for the optic plate, I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the bag, and I'm going to put it in the Vortex box right here, because that's going to tell me when I open up the Vortex box that this particular Defender ST went with the PDP. So that's how I generally do it, or I'll take a Sharpie and I'll just go ahead and mark on here PDP and then put it away. I try to keep the boxes just in case I want to take the optic off at some point in time and either sell it or get rid of it or put it on a different gun. I always keep the box. If I don't have anything to put it on, like I did with between the M18 and getting the plate for this PDP, I put it back in the box and just left it there. So that way I know that I have an optic in the box and I have a safe place to keep it. So let's clean up here and I'll cut you back on when we bore sight. All right, everybody, welcome back. So I did the work and I bore sighted it in. What I've been using to bore sight my pistols is I've been using the laser bore sighter. It's just a generic laser bore sighter that I got on Amazon. Takes these little itty bitty tiny batteries. Comes with a bunch of them. I've been using this for quite a long time. I use one of these in 9mm for my 9s. I use one in 5.56 or 223 for my ARs. It works out really well. The last time I went through this process with my DH3 on video, it took quite a while. So I went ahead and skipped that, sighted it in using the tools that I have here on my bench, and I believe we are good to go. So next is going to be going to the range and taking a couple of shots and making some minor adjustments if I need to, but I shouldn't. If you could see all the way down there, there's a little red dot on my wall right there. That represents, that's 25 feet from where I'm at. Actually, I'm sorry, it's about 15 feet from where I'm at. And that's going to represent the 25-yard line because it is about a 1/2 inch dot. So we should be good to go. I take the PDP out of the vise here, and we are good. Another cool factor with Vortex is they do provide a tool, and this tool can adjust your windage and elevation, as well as lock in your screws, and help you with your base plate to take your base plate off for the, or not your base plate, but your battery plate for the battery. That's one cool factor with Vortex. I've loved Vortex so much that in my toolbox here, I've got quite a few of these that have come with all of my Vortex optics. So as you can see here, I've got quite a bit of these. Whoops, that I have. I have a bunch of extras, and I'm totally okay with that. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next build.